What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle for the next episode of our weekend review. So this week I'm actually not going to talk, this is going to be more of like a business review, I guess, because honestly I didn't have time to develop the topic that I wanted to work on this week due to a number of issues that had come up during the recording process. And so unfortunately, as you may have noticed from my last couple videos, I did mention what's going on. Things are a little bit rough and weird over at my house right now. So basically all that we're going to do today, we're going to talk about the series that we have going on. We're going to talk about some of the channel organizational stuff. We're just going to kind of like get into position to talk about what's coming in the future and what's looking ahead, which as of right now, actually, there's not a whole lot of things going on. It's a very, very slow season right now. We're actually looking at the end of the first quarter, and this tends to be when there's a little lull in game development. And then right after that, what will happen is we'll go into the second quarter, and that's where things are going to blow up. And then there's a little lull in the third quarter, and then once we get to the fourth quarter, it's Christmas again, and things are really, really explosive. So for right now, over the course of this week, we got a number of series running right now, and I'd like to take a second to talk about each of them. City Skylines. I like City Skylines. I think we're probably going to be keeping City Skylines around for a little while longer. I'll probably end the series pretty soon, but not super soon. I think that once we get to like 30, 35 episodes, I'll be happy with where it's sitting out right now. It's in a really, really good spot, and ultimately, until I have something to replace it with, I've got no place to go with it. I do find the game to be enjoyable, but it's really sort of like repetitive actions as you continue to expand outwards. Unless you get like excessively like creative or anything, which I don't tend to. There's not really like a whole lot of things to sort of jostle you out of your position and force you to start thinking differently. And so I've been having a good time with the game, but honestly, I'm thinking about sort of like moving on to other stuff that more suits the channel. I think that people have been enjoying it, and the view counts are solid, and everything else sort of like interaction's been okay. And I think it's been working out for me so far, but I like Tropico a lot better, to be honest. I like things that take city builders and they add like an extra layer just so like I can keep my attention focused on something other than like building, where you have like random problems and like wars and things like that to deal with. And so I do like City Skylines, but I think it's getting to the point where now we're just sort of like building more and more suburb in each episode. And so we'll see what happens in the future. I've got, I think, like 7 more episodes recorded right now, so I have a lot of episodes ready to go. So it's at least going to run out to, let's see here, we've got... What's going on, right? We're on episode 19, so I've got it running out to like episode 30 or something right now. So frankly, it's insured for a little while, so it's going to keep on going. This week we played Karate Master, so Karate Master was pretty cool. What did you guys think of that game? That was a game that I found myself enjoying tremendously, and it was a blast to do the video for it too. It was a game that like I didn't expect much from, but then once I started playing it, I found that it was actually a really, really unique and enjoyable experience, if somewhat, I guess, derivative of older games from back in the early and like mid-late 90s, like that entire arcade period where arcades were winding down, but they were just starting to get into like their technical heyday. So arcades were the most popular like in the 70s and 80s, but in the 90s, as they were dwindling in popularity, the arcade games started to get more and more robust and complicated and pretty and things like that, sort of on the back end of the Super Nintendo, where consoles couldn't quite handle better graphics, but arcade cabinets could and things like that. It sort of reminds me of that period back at the old like Scandia, was where we used to play games like that. That's what I always think about. You go to Scandia, or you go to like Chuck E. Cheese or like Playland or something for like birthday parties and stuff, and they would always have like X-Men, Children of the Atom with that enormous arcade cabinet. Yeah, that thing was legitimate. That thing was off the chain. But anyways, I liked Karate Master. It was a game that surprised me with like how tightly designed the game was, aside from like some of the weird mini game choices. Everything else looked really, really good in that game, and I had a lot of fun playing it, so I hope you guys decide to check it out. This week we started streaming Fallout New Vegas, and so that's going to be, this is sort of an announcement for anybody that doesn't know. Fallout New Vegas, I have a lot of technical problems with the stream, especially the last week or so, because Twitch got hacked and has a whole bunch of like random stuff going on, and so they unlinked a lot of my services and accounts and stuff like that. And so I had to like redesign everything and get it all reset up, and ever since then it's been a headache, but it's all settled now. But in the future, when games decide not to just like be streamed, they no longer want to participate and they're sort of just like throwing a temper tantrum, we're just going to play Vegas from now on. That's like our fallback game. I described it in the actual stream as like, you know, like when you were in elementary school and it would rain or it would snow too much outside so you couldn't go outside to play, they would do like alternate recess. Well, Fallout New Vegas is our alternate recess, and that's fine because I really, really like the game. It's a fun game, and actually the viewer turnout was really good for it. We had like 240, 220 viewers at one point, and so frankly, Fallout, it was surprising. I was surprised, really. I sincerely was. For older games, you always expect to have like a really low stream count, and for whatever reason, people were stoked about New Vegas, so that's cool. Pillars of Eternity, rapidly becoming my game of the year. Really, really trying. It is running. It's not a hard run race right now, though, honestly. It doesn't have a whole lot of competitors. Pillars of Eternity, it's been a lot of fun, and I've been enjoying the hell out of the game. I'm actually going to start a second playthrough this weekend at some point so that I can get a little bit ahead and actually just have fun with the game at my own pace, because right now I've been feeling very, very rushed in game just because you've got 25 minutes to get something done, and in a game like that, there's so much dialogue, and there's so much reading, and there's so many tooltips and things, that it can become very, very difficult to balance time in between each one of those fundamental aspects of the gameplay. But I am having a lot of fun with the game right now, and I do think that it's a game that everybody should own, albeit the price is high, and I feel like Paradox took a swing at gamers with that one just because they knew it was going to be a game that was really, really in demand, and they knew it was a game people were going to want, and so they just jacked up the price. I think you're getting your money's worth, but still, $45 is a lot of money for what's technically, it's not an indie game because it's by Obsidian, but still, it's expensive for a PC game, seeing as like most PC games tend to debut at like, what, $39.99, or at least that's how it used to be. I don't know, but anyways, it's a good-ass game. It's a really, really good-ass game. It's a gag, I guess would be the way that I would put it. But I'm enjoying every single moment inside the game, and I hope you guys are too. The game seems to have gotten some pretty solid reception here at the Nerd Castle, and I have been having fun playing it. You know, I've been trying to avoid the comments because I know people are going to spoiler and people are going to mess it up now that the game's been open. And so any game that has potential spoilers, I really try and stay out of the comments, but I am going to try and read through tonight and see if you guys have really good advice for me. Things that I can do better, because obviously this is a very cerebral game. It's a game that's got a lot of stuff going on, and that's not my forte, especially when I'm doing commentary. I tend to drop the ball on that. When I play by myself, I tend to do pretty well in tactical games, but it's just like keeping a thought process rolling and constantly looking for like puns and like funny things to say and like observational stuff drains a lot of the old mental CPU, and so it is what it is. Reign of Kings, I'm still enjoying Reign of Kings, and I have to apologize for that episode that went up the other day. I don't know what happened with that one. I dropped the ball, and I owe it to you. Now, it happened at a rough time for me, but that's still no excuse. Like, I don't understand how I didn't catch that, and so I apologize for that episode. I've replaced it now. Everything's looking good. I've recorded about 6 more episodes this weekend. Don't know how long I'm going to keep Reign of Kings going just because it's difficult to orchestrate things for it and, like, show you new content and stuff, but the server has been going well, and I've been having fun on the private server just chatting with people and having a good time. It's been difficult to police and play referee for a lot of it because I think the rules are not abundantly clear to a lot of people, and we don't have, like, a central website where they can look at it. But then again, I'm not interested in running something like that either. It would just be extra work that I don't have time for. And so with Reign of Kings, I'm having a good time on the private server. I've been seeing a lot of people there. The server's been very, very active since I announced the information. If you wanted to play on the server, go ahead and check it out on the Facebook page. I've been doing that as sort of like a filter, just because if I post it on YouTube with the information, it's going to be full all the time. And so I'm trying to pipeline basically, if the people are taking the initiative to go to the Facebook page, that's objective number 1. And so it kind of like thins the herd a little bit so that people that go over there, they could check it out and then they can go over. And then the second thing is that I'm trying to consolidate everybody behind like one social media so that if I have announcements and things, I can actually get a hold of people. Because as of right now, I've got like different fan bases on Twitter, Facebook, and all these different places. And I'd prefer, since Facebook's the one I use the most anyways, that's the one that I'm most comfortable it's the one that I have the most viewer reach, and it's the one that I have the most people subscribe to, and it's the one that I feel like I can actually disseminate information the best through. That's the one that I typically use. But anyways, check it out on the Facebook page. I'll link it down below in the video description so you can get on in over there. Ori and the Blind Forest. You know, I made that crack about like a thin running right now for games for my game of the year, but honestly, Ori and the Blind Forest was a really, really good game. I was surprised by it. I was sincerely surprised by how cogent and how just like tight the entire package was, and so I gotta move on before talking about tight packages too much because I'm gonna get all husky, but nonetheless, I was really surprised at the way that the game was assembled. It had some very thoughtful puzzles. It has some things in it that you have not seen before from platformers, or at least things that are derivative from things that you've already seen but have their own unique little twist. And at this point in gaming, it's hard to come up with unique ideas anymore anyways. And so frankly, I felt like they did a really, really good job with what they did right there. I enjoyed it all the way through, and even though it wasn't the most popular series I've ever done on the channel, like I think the viewer counts dropped off very, very quickly afterwards, so I don't know if platformers are going to be really a thing that we can support here at the Nerd Castle, because it's outside the order. I don't do a lot of platformers, so I don't think I've done a platformer on the channel since Rogue Legacy, so it's been a really, really long time, but I enjoyed the game, and I wanted to finish it off, and it was reasonably short so that I could do it in like 3 sittings anyways. The game was only like 6 hours long, or I think I finished it in like 6 hours and 4 minutes or something like that. Maybe it was really, really short for me. So anyways, it was enjoyable, and I highly recommend it. I highly, highly recommend it. Aside from that, I don't think we have much else running. Dead State is still hanging in there, and while honestly, Dead State still has a strong turnout, and so I'm happy, like, producing episodes for it. People still checking out Dead State. It's going to be one of those series. It's going to be the longest series that I've done since Mountain Blade Warband. The longest series that I've done. It's a fun series. Like, I still enjoy recording, and actually I'm enjoying it. The funny thing is, now that I've sped up the gameplay and I'm just like skipping days, I've actually been enjoying it a lot more because I suppose the meat rather than the gristle of the game is becoming more exposed as we just like skip days every single day. If I didn't like the storyline from day, 67, like 2 or 3 days from now is going to be next episode, so we're going to get to the next storyline block anyway. So I've been having a good time with Dead State, and I'm looking forward to finishing it. I think we're just about there. I think we're out in like the late 60s, and I've heard the game starts to end around day 80, so I figured 5 more episodes aside from what I have recorded. We should be ready to go. I think it's got about 3 weeks, 2 weeks left in it. Maybe. We'll see what happens. But that's about our entire roster for right now. Now that Ori's out of the way, I think things are going to be a little bit more relaxed. Things are going to be a little bit less rushed. I'm going to start doing 4 videos a day instead of 5 videos a day. If something comes out that I really want to cover, we'll go back to 5. But for right now, I'm feeling pretty solid about things. So let's do our Q&A, shall we? I think that the Q&A is going to be pretty fun. I enjoyed our talk last week about aptronyms, but I'm really, really excited about next week. So I've got my subject already chosen. It's just that I was taking notes and I was writing it down. I just couldn't get it pulled together by today. And so I figured we would just do sort of like a channel checkup. That's what I'm going to call it. It's called the channel checkup. And we'll do one of those every couple weekend reviews. So Splatterchats, I don't know, maybe on the prime numbers or something like that. You know, like 1, 7, 13, things like that. We'll do like these little channel checkups. And so there it is. I think that let's look through some of these questions right here, and we'll see what people have for us. When is the next stream? Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 5 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time. Right now is a really rough time for me in my personal life, though, so things are a little bit sketchy. I've been doing my best to show up and do the stream, though, because it helps me get my mind off things. Let's see. Kiss, marry, kill. Prometheus, Space Jockey, Alien, or the Predator. I'd marry the Predator because the Predator seems like the kind of guy that would have your back. You marry Alien and it's probably just going to impregnate you, and then you got to like spawn babies out of your chest like style. And so I'm not down for that right now. The Space Jockey kind of seems like an asshole though too. So I don't know. Let's go with kiss the Alien, I guess. No, let's kill the alien. I'll kiss the Space Jockey and hope that he doesn't rip my skull off. And then, because I've heard the Space Jockeys hate humanity. And plus, if we're going to marry the Predator, I've heard that the Predators and the Space Jockeys hate each other too. Like, they've waged, like, an endless war across space trying to kill each other. Like, they strongly, strongly dislike each other. So anyways, have you ever played Prince of Persia? Yeah, I have it on Sega Genesis. I did indeed. It was one of my favorite games when I was a kid. I really, really enjoyed it. That question got, the next question that I was going to do, it's already been answered by the Nerd Castle, so I'll probably, can I send yourself in the P.O. box? I forgot about that, so I do have the P.O. box all lined up. I will post the information down below in the description, so if you want to send me fan submissions or anything like that, you're more than welcome to do so. I check it every single week, and so there, well, technically Lady Splat checks it every single week since, never mind, organizational stuff, but nonetheless, it's available. And so, let's see, I moved my mouse, and now I don't have my question, so my next question is going to be, oh yeah, can I send myself to the P.O. box? I don't know if you'll fit. If you're like rat sized, you might fit, but I don't know, maybe they'll store you in the back or something if you really want to package yourself. Just make sure you cut air holes because I don't want to be blamed for asphyxiation. I'm not down. Asphyxiation is not a good word. It sounds every bit as like aggressive as it actually is. And so there it is. I think that for the next one, you're stuck with lightning one day and you get or you're struck with lightning. Getting stuck with lightning means that it has to be solidified somehow. Getting stuck with it seems like it would be really uncomfortable, or at least hurt for a little bit, or bleed or something. You get struck by lightning and you get a superpower. What would you want it to be? Honestly, flight. I dream about flying like all the time, where you just be like, woo! And you just be like all up in the sky, and birds would be like, Maka! And you'd be like, hey, what's going on, bird? How you doing right now? And the bird would be like, Maka! And I don't even know what that means in bird, but it would still be dope. And then maybe, I don't know, I might try and poop on somebody bird style, because I figured that would be one of those lifelong dreams that if you're already up in the sky, you might as well go bombs away on that one. I figure there's a reason that pigeons and stuff do it to me so constantly. It's got to be entertaining in some capacity. And so there it is. Probably flight. Just flight. I'm not going to go for anything complicated. Let's see here. Would you ever consider playing Neverwinter Nights 2? I would consider Neverwinter Nights 1 if they did an HD conversion of it, because I want to put it in 1080p. I'd like it to have, like, I don't like playing games in Windows and little, like, bad resolutions and stuff. I love Neverwinter Nights 1, and so I would strongly consider Neverwinter Nights 1. Neverwinter Nights 2, I played about 25 hours of it, but I never finished the game. I remember enjoying it, but just never, like, finishing it off, because I got bogged down. Once you were up against, what are the names of the guys? They're the guys, oh my god, I can't believe I'm blanking on it like this. But you know the guy that they travel through the plains and he's got the sword that like reflects his mood or whatever? Like it changes depending on his mood or who he's fighting or whatever. Those guys fight with another group of guys that are just like them, and they fight like in between the dimensions with each other. I got bogged down in a part of the game where you're fighting a bunch of them, because I do that when I do D&D campaigns too. I hate whenever those guys show up. It's just, I hate them. I hate them so much. They're just terrible, terrible enemies, and I don't like fighting them, and I just get bored really, really fast. Have you considered a Just Cause 3 series? Hell yeah, Just Cause 3 is gonna happen. I hate to tell you, but like, AAA stuff is gonna happen when Just Cause 3 comes out, because Just Cause 2 is probably the greatest sandbox game ever made. It's incredible. What is your favorite non-mainstream subreddit? My favorite default subreddit is World News, even though it's a little bit of a circle jerk. I enjoy it. My favorite non-mainstream subreddit, well, actually, I don't really go to anything other than the defaults very frequently. Occasionally, I mean, we could take a look at my Reddit page right now, and we can look at my frequently viewed if I load this up right here. It looks like I go to CubeWorld every now and again just to check on it, because I'm not a believer anymore. I go to Ask Historians. I go to Eli5. I go to World News a lot. Like every single day I read Slate and then I read World News. I really, really enjoy, documentaries, /r documentaries I go to a lot, just to kind of like keep an eye on like random documentaries I might have missed. But that's about it. Is there a dish that you are especially good at cooking? I make amazing tacos. I make fantastic tacos. That's the one claim to fame that I have, is, well, technically I stole the recipe from somebody else, but hell yeah. I really, I can cook tacos like nobody's business. Like, you give me like a little bit of ground beef and just like cumin and like onions and some other stuff, and I'll make you some killer tacos. We will kill this thing right now. I mean, it's already dead, so there it is. It's already ground up. Let's see here. What in sweet baby Black Jesus's green earth is Splattercat talking about? Aptronyms was what I was talking about. Let's see here. Would you ever consider posting short videos recommending games? That's actually, I have. I've been playing around with the idea of highly edited 2.5-minute videos talking about random indie games where I just blow through, sort of like Jimquisition style, or I blow through sort of like zero punctuation, just like hit it really fast and try and be as funny and as punny as possible while still getting the point across. But once it lines up with time, like I post so many series that it's difficult for me to keep up with everything. It really sincerely is. Like, I'm working long days right now, and unfortunately I keep trying to cram in more stuff because there's so much stuff I want to do, but it's weird how the hours just get eaten up. It's weird how the hours disappear. So there it is. Have you ever played Roblox? Only Unturned, which I think was built with Roblox, but other than that, no. Let's see here. Have you ever considered working in radio? I did work in radio for a little bit. Granted, it was more of like an internship type deal, but it was still a blast. I had a heavy metal show that I really liked. Let's see here. Do you know about Arcanum of Steamworks and Magic Obscure? I remember seeing it at Target when I was maybe 13 or 14, and I bought Baldur's Gate instead. They were sitting side by side, and I only had the money for one, and so I know what it is. My friend had it, but I've never played it, and I bought Baldur's Gate instead, so there's the answer right there. I think that's just about going to cover it for this week's channel checkup and Q&A. I think we hit just about everything we were trying to accomplish right there. My name is Splattercat. This is Splatterchat number 7. This was our channel checkup. I'm glad you can make it. I hit it all in one pass. I didn't have to make any cuts today. How exciting is that? Usually I have to make little cuts and stuff, so there it is. No jump cuts, no nothing. Everything's looking good right now. I will see you all next week on Sunday. I hope you enjoyed this. Obviously, it's not quite as entertaining or infotaining as my last weekend was, but I've got something for you next week. And it rhymes. Let me know if there's topics you want me to talk about as well down below. I've got like loads and loads of trivia books, and so I've got lots of ammo for things to talk about if you want to talk about them. But if you got more serious things that you want to be discussed, let me know down below in the comments. I go through every single weekend. Like, if you're really trying to get to my eyes, I read the shit out of the comments underneath these videos. And so I will see you all later. Take care out, everybody, and hi-do. That's Splatterchat number 7. I'm out.